In this video, I want to take you through the WooCommerce HPOS, which is High Performance Order Storage, the WooCommerce HPOS command line interface. There's two ways to enable HPOS. Just a quick pause here. If you're not sure what HPOS is, please check out my other videos on the subject. But essentially, it's a high performance way to store your orders on your WooCommerce store, so it'll make your site load more quickly. It's really important for a high performance store to enable HPOS. So there's two ways to enable it. You can either use the command line interface, which I'm going to touch on today, or you can use the graphical user interface, which I've done in my previous videos. So if you go to WooCommerce, Settings, Advanced, Features, we can enable high performance order storage here. This is all well and good if you've got a small store with a few orders. Use the graphical interface, it's fine. But if you've got a high order volume store with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of orders, this is a really slow way to do it. So it's much more performant to use the command line interface. So the command line interface, I'll include this link in my blog post, but essentially we've got these series of commands you can run from an SSH session to do what we can do through the graphical user interface via command line much more quickly. So let's get the status of my current store from my command line. It's beyond the scope of this video to tell you how to connect to your store via SSH. Check with your hosting company. Essentially, I've connected to my site using PuTTY, and then I can run the command line WC HPOS status, which will give us the status of HPOS on our site. So we can see it's not enabled. You can see we're using legacy mode there. Compatibility mode is not enabled. You can see there we've got 6 unsynced orders and no orders subject to cleanup. So let's enable HPOS and enable compatibility mode at the same time. So what we need to do is run this WC COT enabled. A lot of these command lines have been updated, but they haven't updated the documentation, which is a bit annoying. So let's run the enable with sync. So that will enable compatibility mode with the synchronization. So let's do that. Before we can enable that, we need to sync our orders. So what we're doing is we've synced 6 orders between both modes. So if we refresh our backend now, you can see that we've enabled compatibility mode, so we've synced our orders. So now let's go back and do what we tried to do previously and enable HPOS. So you can see it's enabled now. Now this might not seem a big deal on this site because there's only 6 orders, but if it's hundreds of thousands of orders, the graphical user interface runs it in the back end using Action Scheduler, which is not the most efficient way to do this. If you run the command line, you'll see the data has been synced here, and it will very quickly update all your orders. So let's disable that compatibility mode, shall we? And again, that's our compatibility mode disabled like that. Sorry, I've disabled HPOS. So now forget status. We can see that HPOS is enabled, compatibility mode is enabled, no unsynced orders, and no orders subject to cleanup. If we have lots of orders still subject to cleanup, we can run this command. Obviously nothing to clean up here. Missed the all command off the end there. let's just disable compatibility mode. Let's just do that from the user interface like that. So no orders to clean up there. So that's a whirlwind tour of the HPOS command line. Not the most stunning demo, I'm sure you'll agree, because I don't have enough orders in my development sites to really show it at its best. But it's a much faster way to enable, disable, sync your orders between the two table formats. If you need help migrating to HPOS, please get in touch.